Guys, welcome to today's graphic design bootcamp. And today is day 3. We've come a long way to day 3. We thank God for such an opportunity. And my name is Simon Dubie. I'm your instructor for this design bootcamp. So today, what we are actually going to do is a food flyer. I've realized. So this is today's assignment, and I'm showing it to you. We're going to design anti-mansa, tasty and yummy fresh fries. I'm going to do this simple flyer as a food flyer. This is a beginner course. We are taking it bit by bit, and then we'll start creating greater things. All right, so let me just move on to Photoshop. All right, so what I'm going to do first is that since it's an assignment, I'm going to bring in my design, which is in resource folder. I'm going to share this folder with you guys. All right, the reason why I'm bringing the design in is because of I need the colors. So I need to set the colors. Like I told you, if you want any color, you can bring the design into your workspace first, and then you can select your color. So I'm going to select this red part, and I'm going to select this yellow part. All right, great. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to create my new. So this is just a JPEG. This is not a Photoshop file. This is a JPEG image. It can't be edited or anything. So I'm just going to create a new folder. A new file, which is in inches, 10 inches, 10 inches, 300 inches, or pixels as the resolution. We already know this, so I'm going to dive right straight into it. So today we learned about, in the earlier online session, we learned about gradient. All right, so gradient basically is a background object which makes your design very nice. So basically, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to hover to the create fold or adjustment layer, and then I click on it, and then I go towards gradient. We already know this, so it has picked from the foreground color, which is red, but I want it to be I go to basics, and then I select this, and okay, I think we have a good selection, and I press OK, and then I go to my star linear. Okay, so our flyer is our flyer is, let's look at our flyer. Okay, so the red are the edges, and then the inside is yellow. So I'm going to reverse it, and basically I have a nice. So when you look at this, you realize that okay, so now the yellow is circled in the middle. So this is what we meant by radial. So I told you if you want it to spread a bit, you use use scale. So we are going to use the scale. All right, so this actually looks good. You now actually get the same thing, but at least it should look like it for it to be okay. I think this one looks good. So 177, and I press OK. So don't forget, you need to press reverse. You get me, to be able to get how the color patterns are. All right, so I click on OK. So let's go to our design. All right, so you realize that I have some dots at the back there, dots. So we are now working on the background first before we work on on the main flyer. All right, so I brought in another background known as, so I go to file, place embedded, and I bring in this. I'll make this background available for you, and then I stretch it. This looks great, and I stretch it. All right, so I showed you guys what is blended options. So blended options basically it syncs your design with the background. So this is a blending mode. I go to blending mode, and I set it to luminosity. Okay, so I think I don't need luminosity. Let me see. So I think I need an overlay. All right, great. So I'm going to decrease it a little bit. All right. So yes, I think it's an overlay. I'm going to decrease it a little bit, or let me see, soft light, overlay. Let me look for other options which can blend. So I think soft light will do. All right, great. I reduce the opacity small to like 70. This where the opacity is. Look at where my mouse is. I click on my layer, and then this is where the opacity is. I put my opacity at 7. All right, great. So what I'm going to do next is, okay, so now we are going to focus on the main flyer. All right, so we are going to bring in our food image. So I downloaded it from a site called the PNG Ring. I've told you guys how to download PNG. So I just searched for fried rice, any food like fried rice, and then people have posted many images of fried rice. So I just bring in my food. All right, so great. So let me reduce it a little bit. All right, and let me center it to the middle. All right, so great, All right, so you realize that earlier in the class I was teaching you guys about drop shadow. You realize that I actually gave this a drop shadow so that it can actually stand alone. You can have a full of the food on the flyer. So you can see that this one doesn't have what? Dot shadow. So I quickly go to what? Effect, blending options. And I go to blending options. So actually the one here is what? Blending mode, and then this one is blending options. I go to blending options, and then a pop-up comes. I click on drop what shadow, and then you realize that that's giving it a little bit of what? I think I can't pull in, but you can see it. So let me increase it a bit, and let me increase the size. I think something like this is okay. Let me decrease it a bit. Make sure that your angle is set to what? 90. Make sure that your blend mode is what? Multiplying. Your opacity is increased and used. So I talked to you guys what this actually means, this quality means, but I'm going to put it in on this. I'm going to select this. All right, great. And I press OK. So I can actually reduce opacity so that people don't really see the, but you actually feel like, okay, the fried rice is actually, is this fried rice or is it braised rice? All right, anyway, we are working on our flyer. All right, great. So I think this looks good. All right, so what we are going to do next is what? We are going to bring in what? The anti-mansa. All right, so we are going to what? Just a minute. I'm going to use my test tool, and I use a font called what? Patch. So I've made it available, Batch and I increase the font, and I set my color to white, and I do what? And say Mansa. Great. And I increase this. All right, great. So I think when you look at this, you realize that the font was what? Light. It wasn't heavy like this. This looks heavy. So I just go to what? My paragraph or my character, and I what? And I onboard it. So it's a little bit light like the one we have here. Great. All right. So what we are going to do next, I think our background is a little bit, yes, a little bit lighter than this. So let me go here, and then let me go and then manually fix this. I think I need to, right, just a minute. Okay, and okay, let me reduce the opacity of this. You can let it be standard. No. I think yes, let me reduce the opacity of this. I think I'll give this opacity of what? 60. Anyway, it still doesn't the same, but I think we are getting there. That's how designing is. You actually get so let me increase it a bit. I think I'll use overlay. Let me use the overlay. No. Let me use the luminosity. No. Let me use the divide. No. Let me use the I think I'll go for the color dodge. As the color dodge looks. So you just go to what? You just click on your layer, you go to blending mode, and then you select what? Color dodge. Alright, great. So we are good to go. Alright, so the next thing on our flyer is what? The next thing on our flyer is tasty and yummy fresh fries. I use the same font. So my bachelor font is selected, and I decrease it a bit. Actually decrease this, and then what did I write? Tasty and yummy fresh fried rice. Tasty and yummy fresh fries. All right, great. And I reduce the what? The font a little bit. Okay, great. And I position the font over here. So let me reduce it to at least 18.18. Enter. All right, great. So what I actually did was that, let me zoom in. I actually brought it a little bit this side. Let me bring it down. And what I actually did was what? I went to what? Blending modes, options rather, sorry. And then I gave it a little bit of stroke. So I gave it red stroke. Yes, let me reduce the red. All right, so let me give it 2. Okay, I think 2 looks good. taste. All right, no. So the font actually was what? Was red. Yes, and then the stroke was white. So I just click on effect. So it's just like I go here, FX. I go to blending options. I go to stroke, and I select what? White. Yes. I think I need to do this 3. Okay, I think we are good to do. And then I actually bolding this, so I bolding it over here. Yes, this looks great, great. All right, so you can realize that now we are getting there. All right, and I'll reduce the what? Let me reduce it a little bit to 15. It matches my design that I'm doing. You don't really need to see this. It's the anti-master that you want to see. So now I'm going to rotate it a bit like this. All right, great. So this is what actually I did. All right, so when I did it this way and I brought in this rectangle, so actually this arrow shape I created it. I'll do a video on how I created it, but I saved it as a PNG so that the class won't be long. So I'm going to just a minute. Okay, oh, coming, just a minute, let me do something. All right, good. So I go to file, place embedded. I've made sure that the arrow, I've named it arrow, is available for you guys. This looks very good. All right, so this is it, and I drag it over here like this. So it actually looks like it is showing, it is making the customer see that, okay, so it's actually tasty and yummy fries. That looks great. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to bring in, so actually I use this leaves as illustration for the earlier class. So it's actually leaves and I blend it. So I'm going to show you guys real quick. So I bring in file, place embedded, and I bring in my flowers. I increase it a bit, good, and I put it like this. All right, so what I'm going to do next is what? I'm going to go to filter, I go to blur, and I go to what? Motion blur, and I think 148 looks cool. All right, and I put it under the food layer. So you can be naming your layers so that you don't get confused. So I'm going to name this layer what? Food. All right, so I'm going to increase it so that it doesn't really show on top. I'm going to increase the leaf so that it doesn't really show on top. Okay, so I've increased it. I'll bring it a little bit down here. This looks good. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this tomatoes, and then this I actually blend them, so let me just bring them in so far, place embedded. All right, and then I bring in this first, and then I reduce the size, put it at the left, and I do transform it. So you can do it to how it suits you. That's fine with me. All right, I bring it this side. So I go to filter and I go to motion blur. So I can take here, I can go to blur, and then I can come to motion blur, and then wow, it's blessed for me. I like this, like that. And I bring in the what? The tomatoes to place embedded. I bring in the tomatoes, and I decrease it. Let me decrease it. All right, I need to hold shift on my. Okay, this looks good. All right, so and I go to filter, I go to blur, and I go to what? Motion blur. You can use the other kind of blur, that's fine with me. And then let me decrease the food a little bit. All right, great. So you know what, let's increase our anti-mansa tasty fries. So I'm going to increase it with both the tasty and yummy fries and the arrow. So all you need to do is what? You need to hold control, click on the layers, and to select the 3 all together. Great. All right, so we brought our tomatoes, we brought in our green onions. So what we are going to do next is what? Let's look on our flyer. We are going to bring in the order now. So you realize that the order now is beneath the food. So we are going to do the order now. So I click, I go under the food, and then I hold, or you can even do it on a new layer. Just I hold shift and I drag, and then I select the color as what, orange, and I select the, you can do it here, you can do it here, and I select the stroke as what, white. The close is scattered, so I want what, a normal stroke, and then I increase the size of it, and then let me decrease the size of this too. So I hold shift and I decrease it. All right, so what I'm going to do is order now. I used what, Montserrat font extra bold. I like Montserrat a lot. I don't like using plenty font in my design. It makes it, but there are some words that you need to what, use what, many font. That one it's fine. But there are words where you use plenty font, it makes your design. So I'll set the color to white. Order what now. All right, great. And I'm going to what, increase this to what, 25. No, right, 29. I put it here. I'm going to decrease the size a bit. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to align it very well. V, align to the middle. This looks great, and I'm going to put it over here. Let me decrease the size a little bit. Okay, great. And I'll put it right beneath the food layer. So I go down and I put it right beneath the food layer so that at least they can see what we are actually trying to talk about. All right, great. So what we are going to do next is what we are going to put our location, Kukuria Poly Junction. So I use what, Montserrat for this. So I'm going to bring in my icon, my location icon. So place embedded. This is my location icon. I bring it in. I reduce the size. All right, so you realize that my location icon is what? Is red. So I need to do it right. So I go to what? FX. I go to blending option. There's something called color overlay. So just like we can understand, it's color overlay. So you're actually overlaying it. So I'm going to, you can select any color that you want. You can select blue. You can select but I'm going to use white since I don't want to use many colors. And I press OK, and then I'm good to go. This is a simple fly. I don't want to bombard you guys with a whole lot, so I'm just making it simple and easy as you can. Great. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to type what, Kufuridua Poly Junction. Then I'm going to I'll highlight it. I can set it here. I can use the property tool, and I do medium, and I decrease it to, let's say, 14. Yes, I think 14 is good. All right, great. So I want to align it well so that the core symbol can also come. All right, so I think here looks great. All right, so you are going to bring in the core PNG image, so you can download it from PNG ring. All right, great. So I bring in the core. I decrease it. You can actually change the color overlay before. So I go to blending options. Anyhow you want to do it. I go to color overlay. It's set at white. I click on OK. Then I reduce the size. It can work any other way. You can reduce the size or you can change the color overlay. Alright. So this is it. Okay. So let me decrease it too. You can use the rulers to make sure you have a perfect work. I want to finish very fast so that the video doesn't become long. All right, great. So this is what so let me bring in the ruler so that you can align it very well. This looks great already. All right, so it looks good. So I'm going to duplicate. I can just go to test 2 and I can tap what, +233 023 577 777. This is a standard way of writing numbers for flyers and all that. It's actually professional. All right, great. So this looks good. All right. Okay. So this looks good. I think this is actually nice. And then it's actually simple. Let's have a look. All right. So what I actually did was that after doing this, I decided to then if it is like this, maybe people might not see the design, like they might see with the slides, they can't see, So I said okay. So I said okay, let me go to what? Set adjustment or filter, and I went to what? Vibrance, and then I increased the vibrance a bit. This was actually what I did. Alright, so you can save it, actually save it as what? Anything, a Photoshop file, and then you save as in what's the name, as a JPEG. So day 3, and then what do we do? JPEG, great, save, and then I'll save it as what maximum. So you can save it anyhow you like. All right. So this is a simple flyer we've done, and then I think this looks very very good. And then you can also try your hands on it. You need to actually try your hands on it. Yeah, it's an assignment for today. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you tomorrow.